If you've ever worked on a ship, you definitely know the bilge. It's where all the gunk collects. But have you ever stopped to think about how that oily water gets clean enough to go back into the ocean? Today, we're going to dive deep and break down the amazing science behind the oily bilge separator. We all know the bilge can be a pretty messy place, right? But here's the thing. There are super strict international laws about how clean that water has to be before it can be discharged. It's a massive responsibility. So how in the world is it done? Let's find out. All right, let's meet our hero for today, this little droplet of water. Right now, it's kind of stuck in a mix of oil and grime, but its destiny is to be clean and free. We're going to follow its entire journey, from the dirty bilge right through the oily bilge separator. So first things first, what's the big deal? This oily water mix is a pollutant. You absolutely cannot just pump it overboard. It has to be treated to get pretty much all of the oil out first. And that's where our cleaning machine comes into play. Okay, so how do we solve this messy problem and get our little droplet clean? Well, say hello to the GRS-10EB oily bilge separator. This is the incredible machine that's going to guide our droplet on its path to purity. Now, I know what you're thinking. This diagram might look a little complicated at first glance, but trust me, it's actually a really elegant two-stage system. Think of it like a mini water treatment plant, designed to separate oil from water with amazing precision. Our droplet's journey begins right now. It gets pumped from the bilge into the very first chamber of the separator, which is also called the pre-separator. This is stage one, where the first and, honestly, the biggest part of the separation happens. As our hero enters this chamber, it finds itself in a large tank. Now, you might think there are some crazy chemicals or a bunch of moving parts in here, but nope. The system uses a simple, powerful, and totally fundamental law of physics to do the hard work. And that law is all about specific gravity. You've seen this a million times, I promise. Just think about salad dressing. The oil always floats on top of the vinegar, right? That's because oil is less dense or lighter than water. This machine just uses that exact same principle. It lets nature do the heavy lifting. So inside the chamber, the water flow slows way, way down. This gives the oil and water a chance to separate. All the larger oil droplets start floating up to the top, where this specially designed hemispheric plate is waiting to collect them all together. Now here's where it gets really smart. How does the machine know when it's time to get rid of the oil? It's got an eye, the oil level detector, or OLD for short. You can think of it as an electric eye that's constantly watching the top of the chamber, just waiting for that layer of oil to build up. And as soon as the OLD detects that there's enough oil, click, it signals a special valve to open, and all that collected oil is automatically drained into a separate storage tank. It's a totally hands-off process that makes sure the bulk of the oil is removed super efficiently. But wait, our little droplet isn't in the clear just yet. The water is way cleaner, for sure, but it's still full of these tiny, stubborn oil particles that were just too small to float up on their own. It's time for the final polish. So, as you can see here, the partially cleaned water, along with our hero, now flows from that first chamber into the second one. This section is the emulsion treatment unit, and its whole job is to deal with the tiny stuff that gravity alone couldn't separate. Inside this chamber is the secret weapon, the coalescer filter. The best way to think of it is like a sticky maze. As water passes through, all those tiny oil droplets get stuck to the filter. They start bumping into each other and teaming up, or coalescing, into bigger and bigger drops. Once they're large enough, they just detach and float to the top to be removed. Pretty cool, huh? This sticky maze is incredibly effective at grabbing those last ultra-fine particles, polishing the water until it's practically sparkling. Our little hero has finally been separated from all the oil. But is it ready for the sea? Almost. There's one last test. Before a single drop of this water can be discharged, it has to pass one final non-negotiable test. It has to prove it's clean enough to the system's official gatekeeper. And that whole test is about this number, 15 ppm. That stands for parts per million. This is the international limit for oil in discharged bilge water. It means for every 1 million parts of water, there can be no more than 15 parts of oil. We're talking an incredibly strict standard here. The device in charge of this final test is the 15 ppm bilge alarm. This thing is the system's unwavering gatekeeper. A little bit of the cleaned water is always flowing through it, and a sensor inside is precisely measuring the exact oil concentration in real time. So there are only two ways this can go.
If the oil level is below 15 ppm, it's approved. A three-way valve opens and the clean water is discharged overboard. But if the concentration is even a tiny bit above 15 ppm, it's rejected. The alarm goes off, and that water is automatically sent right back to the bilge to go through the whole cleaning process again. Nothing gets past the gatekeeper.
And just like that, our little droplet passes the test with flying colors and is safely returned to the sea. And you just followed the entire process from start to finish. You're pretty much an expert now on how an oily bilge separator works. Let's do a super quick recap of our hero's epic journey. It started out in the dirty bilge mixed with oil. In stage 1, gravity took care of all the big oil blobs. In stage 2, that sticky coalescer filter caught all the tiny droplets. Then it had to pass the final exam, the 15 ppm inspection. And finally, clean discharge back to the sea. So why does all this matter so much? Well, this machine takes a dirty, polluted mix and turns it into clean water. That's a critical job. It's performing one of the most important environmental protection duties on any vessel. And understanding how it works is really the first step to operating it well and being a true protector of our oceans. You know, every journey really does begin with a single step. So for all of you out there learning on your own, keep that curiosity alive. Keep asking questions. That's how we all get better at what we do and how we take care of our seas.
Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more explainers just like this one. See you next time.